In the opening scene, we see beautiful decorations in preparation for Christmas in the neighborhood. Lex, a former TV host, is baking cookies. She receives a notification on her phone about her ex-husband, who is an on-air sportscaster, Charles, and his new girlfriend, Lise, who is his much younger manager. Their divorce is high profile, gaining huge attention from the media. They show one of her pictures where she looks unhappy and encourage her to move on. Her son, named George, who's also an influencer, stops by and records her as she bakes. He wants her to show the world that she is doing fine after her divorce. Her son urges his fans to tune in later to get more updates about his mom. Later, he tries to convince his mother to become an influencer while they eat cookies. She declines because she is afraid of people judging her. George promises to assist her and suggests she come to Aspen with him for Christmas. She laughs at his invitation because it is supposed to be a time he spends with Charles, and she's not ready to see his father yet. He tries to encourage her and reminds her of how much fun they usually had then as a family. She declines and reveals she's seeing someone named Peter, and they already had plans for Christmas. He is surprised and anxiously wishes to meet him. The door rings and it's him. However, she believes it's not the right time for them to meet. Upon getting to the door, she is surprised to see a delivery man instead. He delivers a bouquet and a note. He recognizes her as Charles' wife and quickly takes a selfie with her. When she reads the note, it turns out to be a breakup note. She is heartbroken and believes she's not good enough. She thinks of a way to get over the breakup and quickly reconsiders going to Aspen. She arrives in Aspen, looking adorable in her winter attire. She tries to get a cab, but the closest one is minutes away. She sees a man named Eric, with boxes of wine. He mentions he is heading to the cabman, which happens to be the same place she's headed. So she meets him and suggests she join him. He declines rudely, claiming there will not be enough space for her with his boxes of wine. She tries to persuade him with a bribe, but all to no avail. He reconsiders when he discovers she's a hotel guest because of her luggage. He gives up his cab and plans to get another one. She's delighted and appreciates him for being generous. When she arrives at the hotel, Lex is amazed by the beautiful view and delighted to be back after her divorce. While trying to check in, she receives a text from her son, welcoming her and encouraging her to start sharing her story. She's surprised to see a child named Orly at the reception desk, who tries to check her in but does not find her reservation. Lex feels she's too young for the job and suggests she get her an adult. Orly reaches out to her uncle over the phone. She's amazed because she speaks French fluently. Her uncle turns out to be Eric, and he's glad he gets to assist her again. He also tried to check her in again, but her reservation was not successful. She wonders if there's any vacant room, but he reveals they're fully booked. Desperate and disappointed, Lex begs him to help her get another room. She tries to bribe him again and also suggests that she stay in their villa. He declines and hopes she will get another room elsewhere. The child reminds him of the room that's vacant, but he is not willing to reveal the condition of the room. Lex wonders what the condition is, and the child reveals the room is meant for a chalet girl who does the check-in, cleaning, and other tasks around the lodge. She is willing to rent the room, but he reveals they can't rent it because it's meant for their staff. He hopes they will get another chalet girl soon. Surprisingly, she is willing to take the room with all the responsibility involved. To assure him that she's capable, she reveals she was once a PTA leader with lots of responsibility. He decides to give her a chance because they're indeed short of staff. Eric shows her to the room, and on their way, he reveals her room is not that big, for her not to be disappointed. She sees her husband from a distance and hides from him. Eric wonders why she's hiding, and she lies. On getting there, she loves it and reveals it's perfect. He gives her an outline of her job for the day with the uniform. She refuses to take the uniform and insists she would love to do the job without it. He hopes she will take the job seriously and reveal how important the chalet girl's job is to their lodge. He would love for them to keep their reputation, and she promises to do a great job. He leaves so she can settle in and resume her role afterward. She decides to start telling her stories online. She records a video log entry letting them know how her day was, and talks about her new job as a chalet girl. She promises to enjoy the adventure and keep them updated. In the next scene, some staff are getting some jobs done in the lodge. Lex joins them, and the child, Orly, gets her coffee to welcome her officially. Nicola, the other chalet girl, is surprised to see her. She reveals how much she loves her content and wishes to be a part of it. She tries to avoid going into full details about why she accepts the job offer, and simply wants them to get to work. She reveals she will be part of her content since they will be working together. They are to decorate the dining and Christmas tree. Nicola believes she's good with the decorations, and she decides to share some tips on how she gets it done with music. It is something she usually does with her son, and now she's used to it. Nicola wants to record her so she can share it with her mom, who's also her fan. She accepts, and when Eric approaches them, they have to end the recording to get back to work. He's impressed by Lex's decorations. Lex decorates the dining table while Eric joins her, and he loves it. She hopes he now believes that she can do the job. He admits she's doing great and also reveals there's still more work to be done. She's tired but will love to keep her promise. His widowed mother, Celine, joins them and wonders if he can manage the lodge with their limited staff. He reveals everything is going well and introduces Lex to her as their new chalet girl. On seeing the decorations, she commends her effort as being more experienced than their usual staff. Lex works on creating more content. She gives a tutorial on how to change and make bedspreads while working. She enjoys every bit of it. Later, Nicola also records her as she does another tutorial on how to fold napkins perfectly. She gets along with everyone and her hospitality is top-notch. She also decides to do a tutorial on skiing. She shows all the equipment she will need to ski, and in the process, one of it falls off. Eric, who's also there to ski, assists her in getting it. He offers to give her a ski lesson. She accepts and they plan to meet later. Later, George meets with his mom and she's surprised he can find her. He is impressed with her content, which is trending. She shows him her room and he feels like it is not conducive. He wants her to join them in their suite, but she declines. She decides to create another content in her room and reveal how a chalet room looks, while her son records it. The job is not that formal to George and he wants her to create another content. But she's enjoying it and believes she's being honest with her current situation. Seeing she is determined, he decides to support her. In the next scene, Lex continues with her job and cleans one of the guest rooms. On seeing one of the underwear, it looks familiar. She's surprised because it's for her ex-husband. She decides to round up quickly to avoid seeing him, but unfortunately, Charles shows up. He's surprised at the same time seeing her in his underwear. He believes she's there for revenge, but she explains her current situation to him. The awkwardness between both of them is so glaring. She apologizes for going against their agreement to share Christmas with their son. He invites her for a pre-Christmas brunch. She accepts and plans to ski with them. He is surprised because last he knows, she's not good at skiing. Lex meets with Eric and asks him to assign Nicola to her ex-husband's room. She is curious to know if the venue she will be meeting her ex-husband for skiing does not have many slopes. She reveals her ex-husband invited her and she would love to attend. He informs her that she will need to be good at skiing because the place is not for learners. Later, as Eric waits for Lex to join him for her ski lesson, he checks some of her videos and he's impressed even though he did not reveal it to her. They compliment each other's taste in color and dressing style as they walk down to the skiing venue. He begins to train her, but she struggles to follow his instructions and ends up falling. After the ski lesson, he claims that she's learning fast to make her feel good. Delighted, Lex decides to share the news with her fans and wants Eric to share the updates with them. He confesses that she still has a long way to go. Lex takes this as a challenge not to give up till she's good at it. Lex tries to get some rest after the ski lesson and George calls her, impressed after seeing her video. He appreciates her for coming over and has come to realize that the chalet girl stuff is not a bad idea. He wonders who Eric is, and she reveals he volunteered to give her some ski lessons. He is beginning to suspect that they have something going on between them, but she quickly ends the call. Lex meets with Eric to inform him that she has concluded her task for the day. But he reveals there's still one more task for the day. Celine joins them and they make tea for their guests. She reveals that they have been running the business for a long time and Eric discovers his love for wine through entertaining their guests. Eric's sister lost her life in a skiing accident, and he sacrificed his time by taking over running the family business. Lex also talks about her divorce and breakup, which now leaves her to figure out what is next. Celine encourages her to find her value and do what she loves most. Lex loves people but is still trying to figure out her next move. She tries to get some sleep after a long day, but bumps into Nicola, who suggests they hang out later in the evening. Lex, who is exhausted, accepts because she insists. When they meet, Nicola reveals the lady will not allow them in because chalet staff are banned from dining with the guests. Lex is shocked about such a policy, so she goes live and rants about the hostess. It works and she tips her as she walks to her table. Nicola is impressed with her. She wonders why she decided to stop cleaning a particular room in the chalet. Lex reveals the room is for her ex-husband and his younger girlfriend. So she wants to avoid them as much as possible because she's actually there for her son, who surprisingly shows up and joins them. On seeing Nicola, he becomes speechless. His mother notices he likes her. In the next scene, Lex continues with her adventure and decides to do a recording of some behind the scenes in the chalet, which includes some household tips and cooking. She cooks while George and Orly assist her, and she records them. She also continues with her ski lessons. After one of their usual ski lessons, Orly and Nicola inform her about Secret Santa, which involves sharing gifts among the employees. Eric does not support the idea but decides to join after making some adjustments to it. Unbeknownst to him, Lex picks him. Later, Eric and Lex go for another lesson and she takes pictures of the beautiful view of the chalet. He suggests she enjoys the view a little without always posting it online. Lex tells him she's in search of what to do and he encourages her to not give up trying to find out what's next. However, we see Charles and George trying to bond as father and son. He wonders who he is seeing, but George believes it's not the right time for him to know. Lex continues with her job and her ex-husband keeps admiring her strength. She thanks Eric for the ski lesson. When Nicola comes to inform Eric that they will be needing more help for Charles's dinner with his family, and friends later that day. Lex decides to assist them. Later, Lex joins Nicola and Celine in the kitchen to assist them. When Nicola leaves to get some other things they need, Celine reveals she has seen her video, but she feels she has more to offer her fans. She suggests she gives them emotional wisdom. Lex decides to assist her in serving the guests. While Lex serves, she feels uncomfortable around Lise and Charles. As if the awkwardness was not enough, he asks her out for a drink, and she pours a bowl of soup in his lap for trying to flirt with her. After the dinner, Charles and Lise meet with her and he apologizes for being rude earlier. He suggests they go out for dinner some other time. When they leave, Eric checks up on her, hoping the whole experience wasn't too much for her to handle. He invites her for tea to cheer her up. When Lex returns to her room, she admits the night was hard for her. She decides she wants to talk about real-life issues online rather than cooking tips. She records and lets her audience know about her day, and suggests they discuss interacting with their ex. The next day, she records another video on what to wear when one wants to hang out with friends. Later, she meets Eric, who is glad she wore the outfit he voted for. They head to a restaurant and he discusses his love and passion for wine, which he has to sacrifice for his family. She encourages him to not give up and try to go for his passion when Aurélie is much older, but he hopes it will not be too late then. Nicola interrupts them to ask for help in attending to some of their guests. Eric decides to go with her, but he wants Lex to get enough rest before their last ski lesson. In the next scene, she wakes up late as a result of having too much to drink. She rushes out to meet up with Eric and bumps into Nicola and George, who are all loved up. She encourages her son to ask her out before she leaves. He finally does and they agree to hang out for dinner later. Lex and Eric walk down to the chalet for their last ski lesson. She wonders how he will cope with all the responsibility he has in running the hotel and taking care of his family. So, she suggests he hire more staff. However, he believes they will not be needing more staff after Christmas, because they will not have a lot of guests by then. On getting there, they exchange gifts because they picked one another for Secret Santa. They ski down the hill and he believes she's perfect at it now. She wishes to record it as usual but decides to keep it between them. She believes she is finally ready to ski with George and Charles. Eric is convinced she deserves better, and she is glad someone sees her worth and cares for her. He reveals he has another surprise dinner planned for them in the evening. Charles bumps into Lex and gives her flowers to apologize for bringing his young girlfriend on the family vacation she wasn't invited to. He apologizes for habitually messing up when they were together. She's surprised because he also invites her for dinner. She almost accepts but remembers she has plans with Eric. He has been seeing them together and warns her that Eric is just treating her like he would any other guest. She suspects he is getting jealous of him. Eric gets ready for their dinner and Aurélie, who believes it is a date, assists him. Celine and his niece compliment his looks and hopes things work out between them. At the dinner, Lex opens up about Charles and he lets her know about his past relationships. Things go awkward when Eric says he is looking for dinner and fun. She concludes that he is not seeking a serious connection. To top it up, he continues to talk about how terrible Charles is and that offends her. She believes he doesn't know what type of relationship he wants. She excuses herself from the table as the dinner did not go as expected. In the next scene, she drinks more wine trying to get over what happened earlier. Talk about coincidence. Charles also sends her a text revealing how much he wants them to be back together. She is more confused than ever. Meanwhile, Eric is heartbroken and his mother encourages him to be patient. She appreciates all his sacrifices for the family and hopes they will end up together. Aurélie joins them and he decides to cheer up. He leaves to make chocolate with her and Celine joins them too. Lex sees how happy they are together as a family. It is everything she had always wanted. She receives a message from her son revealing how proud he is because she has found her brand. Indeed, she realizes coming to Aspen is not bad after all. Lex goes skiing with her family, and George does not show up because he has something important to attend to. Charles ditches her at first to catch up with his girlfriend and friends. She is not offended and he joins her late. He apologizes but still ends up ditching her again for his friends. She gets exhausted while skiing but she is encouraged by a skier. She eventually finishes and meets Charles angrily. She accuses him that he can never change even as she considers giving him another chance because of George. She discovers that George is with Nicola. Lex decides to follow her heart by wishing Charles well. She has decided that she isn't going to make the same mistake twice. Lex gets to her room and makes a video on how important family is to an individual. She encourages her fans to never let go of their family. She ends the video and decides to get dressed for the preview dinner. In the next scene, Celine is cooking while George and Nicola assist her. George plans to spend more time in Aspen and Nicola is glad they will get to be together. They both admit meeting each other is the best thing that will ever happen to them. Lex joins them to cook Christmas dinner and is happy to see her son with Nicola. She admits they make a great couple. She wonders where Eric is. Nicola reveals he's heartbroken and he promotes her to be the assistant manager before he leaves for Bordeaux. Lex rushes out to meet up with the cab. She throws snowballs at it and eventually, the cab driver stops. She apologizes to Eric for being rude and pushy at their last dinner. She confesses that she loves him and will not want him to leave for France. He is surprised and reveals he is not leaving for France after all. He is simply going out to pick up some French wine. He has no plan of leaving her, and they kiss. She suggests they stay together all through Christmas so they can spend much more time together. They kiss again to their new beginning together.